In this module, we'll be talking about evaluating your event. It's important you evaluate the successes and challenges of your event. You can gather feedback through surveys from the audience or participants, but it's also important to consult people who helped you run the event so you can improve how you run these events in the future. Also be sure to take down any feedback you might actually get from participants or people involved on the day. If they say anything that might seem pertinent to an evaluation later on, see if you can note that down and bring it up later.
Depending on our events, we look at different types of evaluation. For our in-house groups, that's quite a considerable evaluation process. So at the start of a group, we'll do a DASS 21, so a wellbeing scale, and at the end of the group to see if there's any change over the 6 weeks, as well as a written evaluation and a staff reflection and evaluation, as well as verbal feedback in the group. For workshops or presentations in schools, we do an evaluation form. We'll always follow up with the teachers or other staff members who were there and find out what they thought, if there is anything that they thought was really great, if there is anything we could have done better, that kind of thing. And we'll look at numbers of referrals coming in, so whether we can see, an increase in referrals after a specific event. For larger scale events, we have to be, I guess, a little bit more creative sometimes. So we've done things like, having posters up in a large event saying what's one thing you've learned today about Headspace, or what's one thing you've learned today about mental health that you didn't know before. Or we'll have a really quite short survey that they can do, just tick a couple of boxes and write a couple of things in order to sort of get the evaluation of lots of different people as well. In terms of evaluation on a larger scale, we'll be looking at the plan for the 12 months, who we'd wanted to reach and that kind of things, and comparing data from the previous financial year and the previous year to post events or post that calendar year to see if there's been an impact on the young people that we're seeing at the centre.
So when evaluating events, the first port of call we do is looking at the people that attended the event, so the staff and volunteers and any partners around, just having that self-reflection and going, what do we think worked well and didn't work well. We've had the opportunity to provide surveys. We'll collate those surveys and reflect on the data that's collected there, looking at all the different things like what time of day that the event was on, where it was the venue friendly enough, accessible, and all that stuff. That's stuff that's really important to evaluate, especially if it's something that you feel like you want to roll out again and do on a regular basis. It's always important to kind of build on what happened at that particular event and then seeing how you can achieve better outcomes if it's one of those things that you run regularly, or if it's a once-off event, looking out, is there something similar that you can do it? So if it's for one targeted audience, can you tailor that and retarget it onto there and use that same model so you don't have to reinvent the space all the time? I think that's where the evaluation process is quite vital for that.
When we're evaluating events, it's really important to get some on-the-ground feedback. So sometimes it's not really appropriate to ask every young person, can you fill out a survey about that conversation that we had for 20 seconds when you came to our table. But if you can get some on-the-ground feedback, whether that's, what did you think of the chat that we had last week at your school? Or what did you think about when I was at your school and presenting to your class? They might give you a really good comment, and sometimes that's running away and writing that down in a notepad and just, encapsulating that and, getting that data back to your team and all that sort of stuff. But if the opportunity presents, it's really awesome to be able to get some surveys back or to get some feedback. So one really good example is last year we were asked to speak at a lot of parent-teacher nights. And I find that when you're speaking to parents and adults, they're pretty used to filling out a survey for when they go to an event, whether it's at their school or in community. When I've spoken at a parent-teacher night, just saying, hey, we've got this quick survey, can you fill it out so we can continue to do this more and let more parents know about the work that we do at Headspace and how we can support young people. We've got some of the best surveys we've ever got back from that, and a lot of the time we get some really qualitative data back from, you might have 20 parents in the room, you might get 18 surveys back, and they say, this was amazing, love this, I'd love to find out more about this. And right there and then you're finding out the need in that community and how you're going to get that back and how you can sort of focus on,